y'all, I'm Joe, and today I'm here to talk about Shane Black's film, The Nice Guys, from last year, starring Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. The Nice Guys is a crime/buddy cop film and a comedy set in 1977 in Los Angeles, where Ryan Gosling's character Murch is investigating the death of a porn star, and he stumbles across Russell Crowe's character, Jackson Healy, who's protecting this woman, Amelia, who's connected in some way to the deceased porn star whose death Ryan Gosling is investigating. And when they meet each other, they work together to solve this mystery. This movie came out last year, and it flew under the radar despite getting a lot of positive reviews from critics, and unfortunately it still hasn't really found its audience. And I've only seen it a couple times since I saw it about a year ago in September 2016, but when I heard about this, it looked like a cool idea, and I saw some of the trailers for it and I thought, well, okay, maybe it'll be good. But all the positive stuff that was coming out, I was expecting it to be overhyped beyond all recognition. I was very wrong. This movie is hilarious. When it comes to Shane Black's movies, he's known for his work on Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Lethal Weapon, and Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 I really liked, even though it wasn't exactly my favorite of the MCU. I'll review that again more in depth one day, but I haven't seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Lethal Weapon is a classic. Shane Black wrote the script for it while Richard Donner directed it. But since this is action buddy cop film, similar to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Lethal Weapon, it's not really surprising to me to see Shane Black doing something that he's very familiar and comfortable with. Now, you've seen it all before with buddy cop films like this. Two opposing people have to work together to solve a crime. Lethal Weapon is a prime example, and various other films have done it before, and even some TV shows as of late. But the thing here in this one, while these two characters are different towards each other, they're actually not that different from one another. They both have trouble passing issues with alcohol. But the big difference between the two, Russell Crowe is an enforcer for hire who's not officially licensed as a PI. He's the kind of guy that you hire to beat someone up if they're following you, and he's very cool, calm, and professional about his job. Ryan Gosling, on the other hand, he's officially licensed as a PI, except he's very unprofessional and he's not really good at his job, as he makes himself out to be. And as opposed to the cool, smooth characters that Ryan Gosling is known for, he plays someone who's very high-strung and has a very high-pitched squeal. In fact, this particular one, here it is.
No! Deep breath. You mind if I have an apple?
I almost die of laughter every time I watch it. It's... So the mystery that they're trying to solve is this porn star is found dead in this one family's backyard after her car crashes in their yard, and she's somehow connected to this woman that Russell Crowe was hired by to protect her from Ryan Gosling. She was romantically involved with this porno producer of sorts. They were making a film that they were going to release to the public, and as they're investigating this, as you'd expect, a lot of hilarious shenanigans ensue. Not just the high-pitched squeals that Ryan Gosling throws out every once in a while, but some moments like the bathroom scene when Russell Crowe runs into Ryan Gosling, or even something like the part where Ryan Gosling finds the dead body against the tree and he's trying to get Russell Crowe's attention, like this. I love it. What are you doing down there? Get down here! There are some comedies out there that can make me laugh really hard where my sides feel like they're gonna split. This is one of them. Not nearly every scene makes me die of laughter, but there's quite a couple moments in here, as I mentioned, where I feel like I'm going to die of laughter. Like the first time we hear Ryan Gosling screaming, or when Ryan Gosling says, Jesus! This is probably the funniest I've seen Ryan Gosling in any movie I've seen him in. Russell Crowe, he's Russell Crowe more or less, but in this film, it's fine. It works. And the girl that plays Ryan Gosling's daughter, Angourie Rice, if I'm not mistaken, if that's how you say her name, she actually makes a really good presence as a sidekick in the missions that they go on. It's almost kind of like Ellie in The Last of Us, where she says adult stuff and she doesn't say cutesy stuff just because she's a kid. She talks like a kid would probably talk. She's like at least mid-teens or something like that. And she and her father have a somewhat rocky relationship, but it's not so cliched where she doesn't speak to him for a long period of time. They still have that good father-daughter relationship that you'd like to see. And the reason for their opposition is because you see her sitting in this this empty lot at night in their neighborhood, and it turns out that the house that they're living in was not theirs. The house that they had before had a furnace that blew up one night, and her mother complained about the furnace needing to get fixed. Murch doesn't have a sense of smell, so he couldn't tell what was going on, so naturally he feels a lot of guilt about it. Jackson Healy, Russell Crowe, was involved in a shootout in a diner when someone came in with a big shotgun, holding the whole place up, and Healy intervened, killing the guy, and was hailed as a public hero. Those two parts right there makes an easy bond for those two. There's not an obvious moment where it's like, you know, dude, you're a cool guy. Yeah, you're pretty cool too. Let's go off into the night. There's never a moment like that. This movie is very unconventional, even though it's not entirely new. It's an action buddy cop film after all, but it plays on it in a very tasteful way. But the mystery that they're investigating, the girl Amelia that hired Russell Crowe to protect her from Ryan Gosling, she was making a film about her mother acquitting this trial that she was working on. And what the trial was, this car company was poisoning the air in the city of Los Angeles since it's known for its smog problems. Her mother had all the evidence that was needed in order to convict these people, but she was going to let them walk. The only way that she could get the information out was to make a porno film where the story explicitly reveals the details of what was happening. And of course there's pornography, as you'd expect, and the scene where she explains it.
Your solution was you make a porn film.
It's not a porno!
You know, I have neighbors.
You have nudity in there and sexual stuff. It's a porno. Admit it, sister. Not to mention, that girl Amelia, I mean, yeah, her mother was no saint, and there were people out there trying to kill her, but Amelia? Complete whack job. Too distrustful of everybody, which she ended up getting herself killed by that one hitman who was posing as the doctor to come over and take care of her. Okay, she was paranoid, I get it, but I would have stayed in the house where it's a little bit safer than running around out in some strange city getting exposed like that. And they eventually find out that the film was going to be broadcast at this auto show in downtown LA, where the big corporate heads that Kim Basinger was going to prosecute were going to be attending. The film broadcasts, and everybody sees this happening, and Kim Basinger's people are trying to find the film reel and destroy it. They manage to recover it and hand it over to the proper authorities, and she gets convicted in some way. And it's also another funny scene where Ryan Gosling mimics a German speaker or something, and she goes, "What's wrong with him?" I believe he's making a connection between you and Adolf Hitler." And there's also a pretty good undercurrent of emotion in the film too, with the young girl trying to see if Russell Crowe actually did kill the Blueface assassin that had been bullying him earlier. And he later tries to kill the same family doctor assassin, but before he can do it, she says to him, "If you kill him, I'll never forgive you." And he doesn't kill him. Speaking of which, that Blueface assassin guy, weirdo as they come. And his partner was played by Keith Moon. You might recognize him from other things, but when I first watched this and I saw him in there, I thought, what? He's in here? That is so random. And I also have to say, the time period that this is set in, the 1970s, perfectly realized. I actually feel like I'm either watching a movie that came out in the 70s but with better film stock, or I feel like I'm actually in 1977. I have a fascination with certain time periods, 1920 all the way up till 1989. The late 1970s is one of those times. There's some kind of a mystic quality to it, if you know what I mean. If you have that kind of fascination with other time periods, I like a film that's set in the late 1970s. They did a great job of capturing that time period with the way people talk, the way they dressed, the haircuts, especially, particularly the afros, I guess, if you want to call them. Bottom line, I actually bought that this was 1977. And there is a slight fantastical element to it in the third act. If there's one thing I could complain about, I found that just slightly jarring in some ways, but it didn't really bother me that much anyway. The Nice Guys, I think, is a great comedy. I know that it's probably not going to be for everyone, and the mystery might be a little bit too hard to follow and get into, but if you really like something different, something that you're not used to seeing, give this a try. And I guarantee you that you're going to be laughing at least a good few times, especially, as I've said before, with Ryan Gosling's high-pitched squeal. That's never going to get old. So, what are your guys' thoughts on The Nice Guys? Love it, like it, dislike it, or hate it? Whatever your thoughts, comment below and tell me, and I'll see you guys next time.